Karen's fake HOA cops raid a charity, BBQ with guns. A racist conspiracy unraveled. Welcome back to HOA Karen Files, where we dive into the craziest, most jaw-dropping HOA dramas that'll leave you speechless. If you're new, hit that subscribe button and join our fight against suburban tyrants. Today's story is wild. Imagine a charity BBQ for kids, laughter and burgers everywhere. Then boom, fake HOA cops with real guns storm in, all because a Karen's got a racist grudge. This isn't just chaos. It's a conspiracy of corruption, a detective's takedown, and justice so epic it'll make you cheer. Buckle up for a tale of betrayal, bravery, and a community that says no more to a power-hungry Karen. Like this video, drop a comment. Ever seen a Karen ruin a good cause? And please help our channel hit 1,000 subs so we can keep making awesome videos for you. Let's get into the madness at Oakwood Grove. Oakwood Grove was the kind of place where neighbors waved and kids played tag in the streets. But behind its tidy lawns and gray-shingled homes lurked a shadow. Karen, the HOA president who ruled with an iron fist. Her target was Marcus, a hero who dared challenge her bigotry. Her plan, a gun-toting ambush that would set the Grove ablaze. Oakwood Grove was a postcard of suburban bliss, with its oak-lined streets and cookie-cutter homes. Each lawn mowed to perfection, the Oakwood Grove Homeowners Association kept it pristine, but at a cost. Karen, a 52-year-old former real estate agent with a blonde bob sharp enough to cut glass, had been HOA president for 4 years, and her reign was a masterclass in control. Her two-story colonial, decked with security cameras and a flagpole bearing the HOA emblem, was her fortress. To Karen, Oakwood Grove wasn't a community. It was her fiefdom, and she was its overlord. Karen's weapon was a 300-page rulebook enforced with ruthless precision. She patrolled in her golf cart, the Enforcer, armed with a megaphone and a ledger of fines, a fence painted beige instead of taupe, $250 fine, a basketball hoop on a driveway, $300 penalty, a garden gnome deemed tasteless, $200 in confiscation, but Karen's wrath wasn't equal. Families of color like the Jacksons or the Lopezes bore the brunt. When Mrs. Lopez hung a Puerto Rican flag for a holiday, Karen slapped her with a $400 visual disruption fine. When Mr. Jackson planted a vegetable garden, she issued a $600 non-compliant landscaping penalty. Whispers of racism spread, but fear kept voices low, until Marcus stepped up. Marcus was 41, a black former firefighter with a broad smile and a heart bigger than Oakwood Grove. After a career saving lives, he'd settled in his childhood home, a cozy ranch-style house to raise his daughter, Aisha, 14, with his wife Tanya, a nurse. Marcus wasn't just a neighbor, he was a leader, organizing a charity BBQ to fund school supplies for low-income kids. But he'd seen Karen's bias firsthand, and at a packed HOA meeting in August, he took a stand. "Karen, your fines are tearing us apart," Marcus said, his voice calm but firm, standing tall in the community center. "You're hitting families like the Jacksons and Lopezes harder than anyone else. That's not rules. That's racism, and it's gotta end." The room erupted in gasps. Mrs. Lopez nodded, Mr. Jackson clapped, and even Mr. Callahan, a 70-year-old widower, murmured agreement. Karen's face flushed purple, her megaphone shaking. "How dare you slander me?" she shrieked. "I keep Oakwood Grove elite. You're a troublemaker, Marcus." "I'm asking for fairness," Marcus pressed. "Show us where the fines go." The HOA's got $50,000 unaccounted for. The crowd buzzed, emboldened. Karen slammed her rulebook shut. "This is my meeting, and it's done," she barked, storming out. But Marcus's words lit a spark. Mrs. Lopez filed a town complaint, Mr. Jackson rallied neighbors, and Oakwood Grove began to stir. Karen, humiliated, plotted revenge. Marcus's BBQ, set for late September, was her perfect target. In her fortress, Karen fumed, her manicured nails tapping her laptop. Marcus's defiance wasn't just personal. It threatened her side hustle. For years, she'd siphoned HOA fines into a shell account, Grove Futures Inc., linked to a construction mogul. Raymond Holt planned to raise Oakwood Grove for a strip mall, and Karen's job was to bankrupt residents with fines, forcing them to sell cheap Marcus's BBQ. Raising funds for kids was a symbol of resistance she couldn't allow. Scouring shady websites, she found Oakwood Compliance Crew, a $600 enforcement service promising armed muscle. She wired the cash, grinning. "You'll learn, Marcus," she muttered, imagining his charity in ruins. Marcus, oblivious, poured his heart into the BBQ. He and Tanya set up grills in their backyard, with Aisha decorating tables with paper stars. Mrs. Lopez brought arroz con gandules. Mr. Callahan baked cornbread, and the community rallied. But Marcus wasn't blind. He'd seen Karen's golf cart prowling at dusk, her megaphone off but her intent clear. He called his father, Detective Leon, a 63-year-old cop with a nose for trouble. "Dad, Karen's planning something," Marcus said. "She's dangerous." Leon, his voice like gravel, replied, "I'm on it, son. Nobody messes with my family's good deeds." Karen's throne was wobbling, but her spite blinded her. Oakwood Grove was about to explode, and Marcus's BBQ would be the fuse. September 22nd was a golden day in Oakwood Grove, the air thick with the scent of charcoal and laughter. Marcus's backyard was a festival of goodwill. 3 grills sizzled with burgers and ribs, picnic tables groaned under Mrs. Lopez's arroz and Mr. Callahan's cornbread, and kids chased balloons shaped like stars. Aisha, in a bright yellow dress, handed out lemonade, her smile infectious. Over 150 people, neighbors, firefighters, teachers, mingled, their donations piling up for school supplies. Marcus, in a grill master apron, flipped burgers, grinning at Tanya. "This is what community looks like," he said, kissing her cheek. Tanya nodded. "Karen can't touch this." But Karen was closer than they knew. Hidden behind a hedge, she watched through binoculars, her golf cart idling. She'd cited Rule 82B, no unpermitted gatherings over 100 people. Marcus hadn't filed for a permit. Nobody did for BBQs. But Karen saw her chance. Her compliance crew was minutes away, and she savored the chaos to come. At 2:45 p.m., as a local band struck up a jazz tune, a rusty van screeched into Oakwood Grove. Its HOA enforcement sticker. Crooked out stepped Reggie and Nate. The fake HOA cops. Reggie, a 45-year-old drifter with a stolen Beretta 92 in his belt, strutted like a wannabe sheriff, his fake badge gleaming. Nate, a 38-year-old con man with a forged citation, sweated through his black Oakwood security polo, his eyes nervous. Their orders were clear: shut down the BBQ, humiliate Marcus. Karen met them at the curb, her megaphone dangling. "There," she hissed, pointing at Marcus's backyard. "That illegal BBQ is a disgrace. Arrest Marcus for violating Code 82B. Make it loud." Reggie smirked. "No problem, lady. He's done." Nate, uneasy, muttered, "Reggie, a gun at a BBQ? This is nuts." Reggie glared. "Shut up and earn your cut." The band played on as Marcus raised a glass for a toast. "To Oakwood's kid," he called, the crowd cheering. Then screams shattered the joy. Reggie and Nate burst through the gate, Reggie's Beretta visible, Nate waving the citation. "Freeze!" Reggie roared. "This BBQ's illegal. Marcus, you're under HOA arrest." Guests dropped plates, kids froze, and Tanya pulled Aisha close. Marcus stepped forward, hands up. "You're not cops." "What's this nonsense?" Karen rolled up in the enforcer, megaphone blaring. "You broke the rules, Marcus. No permit, no BBQ. These officers are my law." The crowd booed, but Reggie silenced them, flashing his Beretta, not aimed, but threatening. "Back off," he barked. Nate, fumbling, dropped his citation. "Reggie, let's go. There's kids." Karen shoved him. "Do your job. I paid you." Tanya, eyes blazing, stood by Marcus. "This is about your racism, Karen. Marcus called you out, and now you're ruining our charity." Mrs. Lopez, clutching a serving spoon, yelled, You're a bully. Mr. Callahan, trembling, raised his cornbread pan. Leave Marcus alone. The crowd surged, chanting, No Karen. But Reggie's gun kept them at bay. Marcus, his firefighter instincts sharp, stayed calm. Reggie, that badge is fake, and that gun's gonna land you in jail. Drop it, and maybe you walk away. Reggie laughed, but his hand shook. Nate, panicking, edged toward the van. I'm done, he hissed. Karen screamed. Arrest him! He's a menace! The tension was electric, with kids crying and grills hissing. Unseen, Mr. Callahan slipped away, dialing Detective Leon. Leon, they've got guns at Marcus's BBQ, he whispered. Leon, at the precinct, went cold. Hold tight. Callahan, I'm coming. He grabbed his badge. Calling his squad, Karen's vendetta had just crossed a line, and Oakwood Grove was about to feel justice's heat. The backyard of Marcus's Oakwood Grove home was a battlefield of spilled lemonade and shattered goodwill. Balloons bobbed above overturned picnic tables, grills hissed unattended, and the jazz band's notes had crumbled into stunned silence. Marcus, in his grillmaster apron, stood with hands raised, his dark eyes locked on Reggie, the fake HOA cop whose Beretta 92 gleamed under the September sun. Reggie's grip was unsteady, the gun pointed downward but ominous, while Nate, his jittery partner, fumbled his forged citation, muttering, Reggie, we're screwed. Karen, astride her golf cart like a petty dictator, blared through her megaphone. Arrest him, you idiots! Marcus is destroying Oakwood Grove. Tanya, Marcus's wife, shielded their daughter Aisha, her voice fierce. You're a racist coward, Karen. This is our charity. The 150 guests, neighbors, firefighters, teachers, were a tinderbox of rage. Mrs. Lopez, clutching her serving spoon, shouted, You're punishing Marcus for calling out your bigotry. Mr. Jackson, his vegetable garden still a sore point, roared, You fine us for existing. Mr. Callahan, the 70-year-old widower who'd called Detective Leon, waved his cornbread pan, urging the crowd, Don't let her win. The chants of, No Karen, rose, but Reggie's gun held them back, a chilling barrier in the summer heat. Marcus, his firefighter, calm under pressure, kept his voice even. Reggie, you're no cop, and that badge is dollar store trash. Drop the gun, or you're looking at hard time. Reggie's smirk wavered, his eyes flicking to the crowd. Nate, inching toward the van, hissed, Reggie, let's split. There's kids here. But Karen wasn't done. She leapt from her golf cart, blonde bob bouncing, and jabbed Nate's chest. I paid you to crush him, she screeched. Marcus is a threat. Do it now. The standoff was a heartbeat from disaster. Aisha, trembling, clung to Tanya, while kids hid behind parents. The band's drummer, a burly ex-Marine, gripped his drumstick like a club. But Oakwood Grove had endured Karen's tyranny too long. Mrs. Lopez rallied her cousins, forming a defiant line. Mr. Jackson grabbed a garden hose, shouting, You want Marcus? You deal with us. Even shy Mrs. Nyan, a 65-year-old seamstress, held up a folding chair, her voice shaking but clear. This is our grove. Reggie, sweating through his polo, lowered his gun an inch, his nerve cracking. You're all nuts, he growled, but his voice quavered. Karen kept screaming, Finish it! I'm the law here! Then a distant siren wailed, growing louder. Mr. Callahan, back from his call, whispered to Mrs. Lopez, Leon's on his way. Karen's toast. The crowd's chants swelled, their courage a tidal wave. Marcus seized the moment. Reggie, Nate, Karen's using you to fight her dirty war. That gun's your ticket to prison. Drop it, and you might get a plea. Nate panicked, tossed his citation, and bolted for the van. I'm out, he yelled. Reggie hesitated, his Beretta dipping, but Karen grabbed his arm. Coward, I'll ruin you. Her desperation was raw, her throne crumbling. The sirens were close now, red and blue lights flashing down the street. Reggie's resolve broke. He shoved Karen aside, holstered his gun, and sprinted for the van, tripping over a grill. In his panic, Marcus moved fast, kicking the Beretta under a table, out of reach. The crowd cheered, closing in as Reggie scrambled into the van. Nate floored it, the vehicle lurching out of Oakwood Grove, leaving Karen stranded, her megaphone limp, her golf cart swarmed by furious neighbors. Karen's face was a mask of fury and fear. "This isn't over," she shrieked, pointing at Marcus. "You and your charity scam will pay." But her words drowned in booze. Tanya hugged Aisha, whispering, "We're okay." Marcus nodded, his eyes on the police cruisers and a black sedan. Unmistakably, Detective Leon's Karen's vendetta had poked the wrong lion, and Oakwood Grove was about to roar. Officer Torres, a seasoned cop who knew Leon, secured the scene. "Marcus, you good?" she asked, scanning the chaos. Marcus nodded. "Yeah, but that gun's real. Check under the table." Torres bagged the Beretta, her jaw tight. She turned to Karen, who was sneaking toward her golf cart. "Stay put, ma'am," Torres said, blocking her. Karen sputtered, "I'm the victim. Marcus broke my rules." The crowd shouted, "She's a racist. She hired goons. Audit her books." Detective Leon stepped from his sedan, his gray suit rumpled, but his eyes like flint. "Karen," he said, voice low and lethal, "you targeted my son, big mistake." He nodded to Torres, who cuffed Karen. Leon pulled Marcus aside. "You all right, kid?" Marcus hugged him. "Yeah, Dad, but Karen's hiding more than racism. She's up to something dirty." Leon's jaw clenched. "I know, we're tearing her world apart." Oakwood Grove was a crime scene now. Its charity BBQ turned into a taped-off war zone. Guests gave statements to Officer Torres's team, kids clutched balloons, and grills sat cold. Marcus stood with Tanya and Aisha, reassuring neighbors, his apron stained, but his spirit unbroken. Karen, cuffed and slumped in her golf cart, alternated between sobs and screams. "This is outrageous!" she wailed. "I'm saving Oakwood Grove." But the crowd's jeers drowned her. Her empire was collapsing, and the truth was breaking free. Detective Leon had been watching Karen for weeks, tipped off by Marcus's complaints about her fines. His digging revealed a cesspool of corruption. Karen wasn't just finding families. She was siphoning HOA dues into Grove Futures, Inc., a front for Raymond Holt, a construction tycoon eyeing Oakwood Grove for a strip mall. Karen's plan was to cripple residents with penalties, forcing them to sell cheap. Her racism, targeting families like the Jacksons and Lopez's, was both personal and strategic, driving out undesirables to clear the way for Holt's bulldozers. Marcus's BBQ, a beacon of community, threatened her scheme, and his racism accusation made him a personal enemy. The BBQ raid was Karen's fatal error. Leon's team traced her $600 payment to Oakwood Compliance Crew, a scam run by a hustler. Frankie, Costa, Reggie, and Nate were hired muscle. Their Beretta stolen from a pawn shop bust. The gun pushed the raid into felony territory, and Leon was ready to pounce. At Marcus's house, he briefed Torres. "Karen's embezzled $15,000 from fines," he said, showing bank records. "Grove Futures has another $40,000. Her fake cops are Costa's crew. Same outfit hit HOAs in Ohio and Georgia." Torres shook her head. "She raided a charity for this?" Leon nodded. "She wanted Marcus broken. Now she's got me." Karen, overhearing, tried to flee, but Torres stopped her. "You've got nothing on me," she spat. Leon held up a flash drive. "Your emails to Holt say otherwise. You plan to sell Oakwood Grove? Karen, that's fraud, conspiracy, and that gun? Attempted assault." Karen's face drained of color, her megaphone clattering. Reggie and Nate's escape was short-lived. Leon's team tracked their van to a diner 15 miles away, cuffing them in the parking lot. Reggie, defiant, blamed Karen. "She said, 'Make Marcus cry.'" He snarled. Nate, sweating, spilled the scam. "Costa runs it." Karen wanted shock and awe. "We didn't know Marcus's dad was a cop." Their taped confessions were dynamite for Leon's case. In Oakwood Grove, the community mobilized. Mrs. Lopez called a meeting at the community center, packed with 200 residents. Mr. Jackson showed a spreadsheet. Minority families paid 65% more in fines. Mrs. Nguyen revealed Karen's late-night meetings with Holt, spotted at a gas station. "She's selling our homes," she cried. The crowd demanded Karen's removal. The HOA board, cowed by her rule, quit en masse. Leon's squad raided Karen's colonial, seizing laptops and files. An email sent pre-BBQ was a smoking gun. Marcus's event will rally the wrong crowd. Stop him or Holt pulls out. Another showed her diverting $3,000 from fines to her account, labeled management fees. The evidence was airtight and Karen's world imploded. Karen, in a holding cell, played the victim. "I was protecting property values," she sobbed to Torres. But Leon wasn't buying it. He called Marcus. "Son, we've got her. Fraud, conspiracy, and armed intimidation. She's finished." Marcus, holding Tanya's hand, nodded. "What about Oakwood Grove?" Leon grinned. "We're not just saving your BBQ, we're saving this town." As dust settled, Oakwood Grove pulsed with defiance. Residents hung "not for sale" signs, vowing to fight Holt. Marcus and Tanya cleaned their backyard, planning a new BBQ. Karen's reign was ashes, but the real justice was coming, in a courtroom where her lies would burn. The Oakwood Grove Community Center, typically hosting potlucks and bingo nights, was a crucible of reckoning on a chilly November morning. The courtroom was packed, every seat filled with residents whose faces blended fury and hope. Karen sat at the defendant's table, her once sharp blonde bob limp, her designer jacket swapped for a frumpy sweater. Her megaphone days were gone, her aura of dominance shattered. Across from her, Marcus and Tanya stood with Aisha, their resolve forged in the BBQ's chaos. Detective Leon, in a weathered suit, flanked the prosecution, his badge a symbol of justice's weight. The trial gripped Oakwood Grove, covered by local news and debated over every backyard fence. The district attorney, Elena Ruiz, a no-nonsense prosecutor, built a relentless case. Karen faced charges of fraud, conspiracy to commit unlawful detention, hiring armed criminals, embezzlement, and a civil rights violation for her discriminatory fines. Ruiz unveiled Detective Leon's evidence. Bank records showing $15,000 in HOA fines diverted to Karen's account, emails linking her to Raymond Holt's strip mall scheme, and a paper trail tying her to Frankie Costa's Oakwood compliance crew. Marcus took the stand, his voice steady but heavy with memory. "Karen targeted me because I called out her racism," he said, recounting the HOA meeting where he'd challenged her bias against families like the Jacksons and Lopez's. "She sent fake cops with a real gun to ruin our charity BBQ for kids." The jury, a diverse mix of retirees and blue-collar workers, listened intently, their expressions darkening. Tanya followed, her testimony piercing. "Our daughter was terrified," she said, glancing at Aisha. "Karen didn't just attack Marcus, she attacked our community's heart." Jurors shifted, some scribbling notes, others visibly moved. Mrs. Lopez's testimony hit hard. She presented a ledger showing her family paid $2,800 in fines over 3 years, compared to $400 for white neighbors. "Karen fined my Puerto Rican flag as disruptive," she said, her voice trembling. "It wasn't about rules, it was about hate," Mr. Jackson echoed her, detailing his $3,000 in penalties for a vegetable garden. "She wanted us gone," he said. The civil rights charge solidified, the courtroom crackling with tension. Reggie and Nate in Jailhouse Orange testified under plea deals. Reggie, gruff but compliant, admitted Karen's orders. She said, "Break Marcus's spirit, paid us $600. Nate, nervous, exposed the scam. "Costa's crew runs fake HOA busts nationwide. Karen knew we weren't real cops." Their words buried Karen deeper, tying her to Costa, now facing federal charges for racketeering. The case's climax was Ruiz's presentation of Karen's emails to Holt 1, sent days before the BBQ, read, "Marcus's charity is stirring up trouble, stop it, or we lose the Grove." Another outlined her plan to bankrupt residents, forcing sales to Holt's Grove Futures Inc. "Strip mall nets us $15 million, she wrote. The jury gasped, and Karen slumped, her facade of innocence collapsing. Holt, called as a witness, stammered denials, but his nervous tics didn't sway the jury. Karen's defense was a feeble charade. Her lawyer, a disheveled novice, claimed she was safeguarding property values, and, deceived by Costa, Karen took the stand, crocodile tears flowing. "I love Oakwood Grove," she wailed. "Marcus framed me." But Ruiz dismantled her, playing a BBQ guest recording of her megaphone rants. "Marcus is a menace," Ruiz pressed. "You hired armed thugs to silence a charity, Karen. That's not love, that's a conspiracy." The jury's glares were daggers. After 3 hours of deliberation, the verdict landed. Guilty on all counts. The courtroom erupted in cheers. Karen, ashen, was sentenced to 4 years probation, $20,000 in restitution to residents, and, most galling, 250 hours of community service. Building a playground for Oakwood Grove's kids, Reggie got 18 months for firearms charges. Nate 1 year for fraud. Costa faced 5 years. Holt's company was fined. His strip mall plan scrapped. Oakwood Grove began to mend the HOA, now led by Mrs. Lopez, slashed the rulebook to 10 pages, banning fines and prioritizing community residents, planted vegetable gardens in defiance, and Marcus's charity BBQ was rescheduled, drawing 300 people and raising $10,000 for school supplies. Mr. Jackson led a toast. "To Oakwood Grove, our home, not Karen's playground." The crowd roared, kids chasing balloons under paper stars. Karen's first day of community service was a public humiliation. In an orange vest, she hammered playground beams under Mr. Callahan's smirking supervision, her face red as Aisha giggled nearby. "Keep swinging, Karen," Callahan teased. "Kids need that slide." Oakwood Grove had triumphed, not just in court, but in spirit. Marcus and Tanya, watching Aisha play, knew their fight had built more than a playground. It had rebuilt a community. That's the epic tale of Karen's fake HOA cops raiding a charity BBQ with real guns, all for a racist conspiracy. From chaos to courtroom, Oakwood Grove crushed a tyrant. If this fired you up, smash that like and subscribe to HOA Karen Files for more wild drama. Drop a comment. Ever faced a Karen this vile? Check our playlist for more justice-fueled battles. Linked below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.